Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are going to be going over the new and suddenly dropped in-game update patch notes that have been released through our system mail. Now, this actually isn't too long. You can see I can kind of do a quick scroll here. There's 18 points. So I'm assuming they didn't go with their typical format, maybe just because of the time-sensitive nature of maybe needing to get this out a little bit earlier. But we're going to give you the top down. I haven't even read anything yet. However, if we're starting out, and we'll just jump right into it as usual. So starting out here, we have, it just says game update notice, right? That's another reason, not the typical, right, kind of official format that we usually get. But it says on the 15th, right, at 2 UTC. So just to give you a little timetable here, it's 14:12 right now on the 14th. So you have 8 hours, a little less than 8 hours until reset. So you got about 10 hours, at least as of me recording this, it'll probably be 8 or 9 hours by the time this releases, of when that update is going to start, and you're going to have maintenance. Now, this is somewhat, I don't know if I want to say assumed, but this isn't outside the realm of possibility when it comes to how close we are to global release, right? We are essentially 14 days, exactly 2 weeks out, and this drops. Is that coincidence? Maybe. But let's go ahead. Again, there's going to be 2 hours. As always, remember this. 2 hours is bare minimum, right? What they should say is the update process will last at least 2 hours. That would be a wording improvement / opportunity I would recommend. Why? Because you always want to undersell, over deliver, right? When you say will last 2 hours, if it lasts more than 2 hours, now everyone's coming at you with pitchforks and oh gosh, what do they call the wooden sticks that you light when you're in the dungeon? Someone will let me know in the comments. It's not a flare. But let's dive into it. I digress. Here we go. So, number one, we have added new legendary artifacts, Internal Flame, which is magic PvP, and Visage of the Sanctus. It's a mouthful. Flying PvP. Oh, that's kind of cool. Both artifacts can be obtained from the Forge of Light event. All right. I mean, again, right, I'm really more for, just everything kind of being obtained free to play, but, I get it. Number two, the attribute buffs what do I have here? Now, I want to point out, I really would like if when they introduce this opportunity here, when they introduce a new artifact, just give us like the base stats. Right? Just say like, here's the base stats, very similar to when you if you're introducing a new hero or you're giving a previous / before and after example on skills. Do that with the artifacts. Just say added new legendary artifacts, added new legendary artifacts, bam, Internal Flame, here's just the base stats. The next one, base stats. That would be lovely. Number two. The attribute buffs that certain legendary and epic artifacts gain at 5 and 6 stars has been changed. Okay. Interesting. I want to point this out. This is something that I have constructively and kindly criticized when it comes to how we're seeing the patch notes with consistency throughout. When it comes to having a before and after / a previous and now changes, thank you for this. I appreciate it. Hopefully this will continue, and this is very wanted. Again, I can tell you this is something that is lovely to be able to read, just to know where it was at and where it is now. Previous. Damage taken reduction / damage dealt increase, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10% per skill level. Now, the damage taken reduction, damage dealt increase is 1 to 2. So they basically halved this. Wow. So that's interesting. Epic artifacts gain at 5 and 6. Oh, wow. Okay, so they lessened the damage taken and lessened damage dealt. Okay. I guess this somewhat kind of follows, if it's interesting that they opted for this because it does, at least as of late, it is following this trend where they basically removed a lot of the damage from policies and basically started kind of rechanging the way that those operate. So, and again, I imagine it's to elongate, to extend fights out just longer, and where units aren't necessarily getting crushed so fast. Obviously when there's not kind of a single target fire focus situation going on. So yeah, whether this was that case or not, I just find it interesting because it kind of falls along that same line. Number 3, the following changes have been made to the Dragonscale armor artifact skill, Entangling Flames. Previously, grants a shield up to 5 friendly legions in a designated circle, shield factor, duration. Legions also gain physical keen, attack plus 10% for 10. Now, grants a boon shield to your legion. Grants keen to up to 3 friendly legions in a designated circle. The boon shield factor is interesting. What's the difference between the regular shield and the boon shield? Can someone explain that to me? This is the thing. If you're going to change the name and you're not going to give some additional, maybe it's lower, but from what I'm reading, I don't see anything that's really giving me an example of that. So would really have loved for that to be a thing where it says, yeah, boon shield grants keen legions in Disney Circle. Boon shield factor is increased. Boon shield duration is still 10 seconds. Keen plus 10% for 10 seconds. Passive, your legion gains ranged resistance when the wielder grants a shield through rage skills. Your legion gains ranged resistance when the wielder gains a shield. So what, Madeline, I guess, would be the obvious one there. Okay. Interesting. Range resistance. Range damage taken is negative. I like how they put the negative in here. That makes a lot of sense. Just because of the way this is written. -9. I'm imagining they're missing the other negatives here. 9 up to 18% for 5 seconds. That's not bad. It's not bad. And what's interesting is they did the same thing here with Tears of Arbin, right? Tears of Arbin used to, heal like 10 people? 10 allies? Until it got nerfed. And, oh gosh, what is it like? What is it now? Like 3 or 4, something like that? So, yeah, again, the trend is consistent, right, from what we're seeing here. However, I just want to know what is it just a name, a title difference for Boon Shield? Is it like a balloon shield where it's a big thing and like if your unit is in it at the time that it's cast, then you'll get the shield? A little bit more detail. Now, I'm just assuming it's now gone from a 5 units get up to 5 friendly unit, which means you plus 5, so 6 total. Now it's just you getting the shield as the individual. In that case, that seems like a pretty decent, I don't know if I want to say decent, but big nerf. Okay, now we get to number 4. The following changes have been made to Theia's skill, Purging Wind. Previously, Theia's Legion gains 10% up to 20% defense. When her Legion is composed entirely of flying units, their march speed is increased by 10 to 20%. Now, Theia's Legion gains 10 to 20% defense, which is the same. When her Legion is composed entirely of flying units, here we go. Their attack is increased by 4 to 10%, and their march speed is increased by 10 to 20%. So they added attack. I'm actually a fan of this, right? I am. I like that they're giving a little bit more attack to the flying units, and this actually seems like a nice change. So now 5 melee legions now gain significantly more rage when hit by ranged attacks. Wow, okay. That's big. However, what I would love to know here is if they just told us, here's what the rage accumulation is when you hit 1,000. This is how much rage you get per second depending on the unit that you're hitting. I mean, I really would love for them to give us those types of stats. I don't really see how that's going to impact anything. I mean, if anything, I think it'll allow for players to more creatively, if even able to, right, manipulate it in some way or just utilize it to where we can see that in a more significant impact and or creativity on the battlefield. So I'd love to know what the base rate is for gaining rage and then what this means for melee and range. Again, transparency, a level of communication. We're not saying you have to share, your code with us, but at least being able to see what that rage per attack rate is when you're doing the attacking, when you're getting attacked, if it differs at all, that would be lovely to see. The physical, number 6, the physical attack. So again, I want to say that I like this change because I think that this will allow for units like Madeline Garwood, others to obviously have a significant Isher more role. So I actually like this change, at least at face value. Number 6, the physical attack of Knights, Wolf Riders, and Forest Eagles has been slightly increased. Again, what has it been slightly increased to? Right? Give us some details. That would be lovely. Again, I'm not against this. I actually think buffing Cav a little bit could be okay, just based on the meta that I've been seeing. And that's not to say that I don't think Cav has a level of impact on the field right now. I do think that they actually have a level of impact. But this, to me, I think, at least, again, from a lot of the PvP I've been watching, and just the fact that I'm not seeing so much overwhelming Cav, but also at the same time, there's not a lot of Cav commanders or heroes at the time. So even though at face value, I think this is a good change, if it is just a slight increase, so they can kind of gauge, collect some more data, and go from there. On the other side of it, we just don't have, there's not, you don't have 5 Cav legendary heroes, right, so to speak, that you can run, or even just 5 total, that you could say, okay, hey, look, I'm going to run 5 marches of Cav that just run a random secondary, right? I mean, you would need 10 Cav heroes if you wanted to truly test this out. There's just not that many in the game right now. Number 7, added a new infantry unit skill, Rampage. March speed increases when approaching the target legion. After colliding the target legion's march speed is reduced by 70. Oh, wow. After colliding the target legion's march, so the enemy, march speed is reduced by 75% for 8 seconds. Rampage can interrupt the cavalry skill, Unyielding Rush. This effect can be triggered once every 12 seconds. Knights, Wolf Riders, and Forest Eagles skill, Cavalry Charge, is now Unyielding Rush. Wow. March speed increases when approaching the target legion. After colliding with a ranged legion, the hero commanding this legion gains 1,000 rage. This effect can be triggered once every 12 seconds. Oh, wow. This actually doesn't seem bad. So you have this infantry unit skill, Rampage. March speed increases when approaching target legion. That's actually pretty cool. I like how they're doing things to buff infantry a little bit more, to make it just to make it more viable, right? I don't know if I want to say overpowered. I don't think it's at that point at all, but I do like how they're at least cognizant and aware of how there's not a ton of people running infantry, and this actually, I think, buffs that role a little bit more, where you can now make an argument to have someone who wants to run, who maybe is working on wanting to run a pure infantry style build, where that's what they do. They're just all infantry, they're CC, they love tanking. This to me, I think are good steps in that direction. And then obviously with the Rampage, can interrupt the cavalry skill, Unyielding Rush, and then Unyielding Rush, cavalry charge is now changed to that, so increases. I like this as well. After colliding with a range unit, that's dose. I got good sleep, I swear. But this is now for Cav. So Cav is Unyielding Rush. Now, when they collide with a range unit, so when Cav collides with range, archers, a mage, the heroes commanding this legion gains 1,000 rage. Wow. So basically it's allowing for them to pretty much immediately hit, if not near immediately hit, their active skill. That's actually pretty cool. Number 8, improved the layout of battle report messages. You can now see the number of merits earned by each hero as part of the message subject. Okay. This to me isn't bad. I mean, again, I'm all for more detailed battle reports. I even have some ideas on this, but again, this to me is a nice quality of life increase. Removed the following items and any methods for obtaining them. Wow. They removed enhanced attack and enhanced defense. So I want to point this out. I'm actually okay with this. But let me see. Any such items in your inventory will be removed, and you will be refunded any gems you spent to purchase them. All buff effects gained via such items will be automatically removed. So I'm actually not mad at this, right? Because given the logic and the trend that they're going in, the direction is that, hey, we want to slow the game down just a little bit more, where units aren't, either having an absurdly high attack or absurdly high defense, and the fights are lasting a little bit longer, right? Not to say they're going to last hours, but as far as the unit health, or just how quickly units can die and how long it takes to kill, right? It seems as though they're going in that direction where they want to have a little bit more coordination in the fights, rather than some type of Han Solo whale just being able to run through everyone. And this is something I really like about what they're doing so far. Regardless if this was the intent or not, this to me is a trending direction that we've seen now over the past 2 updates. Now we get to number 10. We have re-enabled the alliance diplomacy system. Interesting. Oh, this is the whole thing with unions. So system in Season 1 Plus, Burning Stars, so in the second season essentially, alliances may form unions, but only with one other alliance. Interesting. I mean, look, I'm not... Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how it goes, right? I mean, do I think it's better than nothing? I do. The thing is, I like the union system. Right? I actually think, and I'm going to probably make a separate video on this, I actually think they can expand the union system to be a lot more than what it currently is. And I think when you look at the union system for what it was in its infancy, it was very basic, just in general, right? It was you click to enable diplomacy, you form a union with someone, it takes 24 hours or so to officialize, and then, or to materialize, I should say, and then it prevents you from friendly fire. You guys can use the same passes, right? That, to me, right, I think that's a stepping stone. I think that's a foundation, parts of it. And there's more that we can add onto a union-style system. I think you can build a network. And, I'll dive more into this in a separate video. But with it being just one alliance that you can now have a union with, yeah, I mean, again, I'm not mad at it. Do I think that it's a biggish nerf? I do. Now, as far as having unions in general, right, they're basically saying, look, you can't have and form any unions in the home kingdom, but you can do it in the merge kingdom. This is actually not something I'm really against. I understand where they're going with it because, it's like your starting kingdom, do you really think you're going to need to? So I will say this. The likelihood of you using a union system is greater in your merged kingdom, right, or in Season 2, compared to in Season 1. Why? Because for all intents and purposes, and this is my thing, if you look at, as an example, if you look at your home kingdom, and you looked at, if you look at SS1, right, as an example, the first merged kingdom between Kingdoms 1 and 4. Kingdom 4 was the only kingdom that really came in to that merged season where they had multiple alliances that were allied. By removing the union system in the way that they have, this really punishes the idea and the concept, not to say that it eradicates it, but it limits those and almost kind of deters away from the idea of, hey, we're going to unify our kingdom, we're going to come in together, but you're not really you're taking the tools away for a kingdom to actually say, look, we're going to unite and we're going to go in with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 alliances strong, but you're not giving them options to use the same pass. Now, if we're taking this to a real world war scenario, and you have a union with multiple different armies or multiple different, I guess that's probably the best one to use, countries, let's say, and you're all attacking the same castle. Are you going to be swap trading the pass or the gate? No, you're probably all going to go in at the same time. Like, come on. I mean, there has to be some level, again, of rational logic here, right? And so this to me, again, I can somewhat see where they're going with it, where maybe they feel that they just don't want people to abuse it in the way where you can have multiple alliances going through, and they view this as a way to kind of slow some of the fights down, so to speak. But I don't know. I mean, again, do I think it's better than it being gone? 100% I do. Do I agree necessarily with them going down from 3 to 1? Not really. I would like for it to play out longer. I just don't think there's enough data yet because we haven't had enough merged kingdoms to where you can definitively make that call and say that in the best interest of the game's longevity and health, where we absolutely have to go from 3 alliances in a union down to 1, otherwise the game's going to die. I don't think that's the case at all. So my view on this is I would love for them to go back up to 3 alliances per union and just reinstate the way it is. Am I okay with them not having it in the home kingdom and then just doing it for the merge kingdom? Totally okay with that because I can understand and I could see a little bit of where that logic is going from. Would I be mad or disagree with them adding it in the first season? No, not at all. But I think if you're going to make this big of a change, then there just has to be a little bit more justification behind it. And so I would, like I said, I'd love for them to go back up to 3 alliances in the Union, gather some more data, and then make a conclusive call at that point when they have a little bit more to go off of. Now let's get to number 11. The timing for the appearance of selectable heroes and daily deals has been changed. Okay, but what has it been changed to, right? This is the thing that, we talk about. Provide a little bit of detail. That would be great, right? Only a little bit is what we're asking for. Some transparency would be fantastico. Number 12. Kinnara has been temporarily removed from gold chests and cannot be summoned through gold chests. I wonder why, though. Again, can we give an explanation? I mean, even if you just say, right, we need to do, we're assessing the overall state of Kinnara and possibly may do some adjustments to her toolkit. Like, you could give a broad, vague statement. That'd be great, right? Something simple is lovely. Community transparency and communication, very important. Number 13, the artifacts Greymare's Warhammer, Breath of Jargentis, and Viela's Bowl have been temporarily removed from the Universal Artifact Compendium and cannot be obtained through the Universal Artifact Compendium. Okay, but again, why? Same thing to number 12. Number 14, the artifact Staff of Spring and Amulet of Gold Glory have been removed from the Universal Artifact Compendium. They can be obtained by opening dark chests. Part of me feels like this is an okay change because you're still, I guess you're still able to get it as free to play, but you're just doing it a different way. Though again, because I'm not playing my active account daily right now, I would love to know from any of you, do you like this change specifically? Maybe based on the amount of dark chests that you typically open on a day in a week? Do you think that this is better than basically the rolling rates that you would get in the UAC? Let me know. Number 15, artifacts offered during the Forge of Light event will no longer be automatically added to the Universal Artifact Compendium once the event ends. The timing for the addition of artifacts to the Universal Artifact Compendium, or the UAC, is at the discretion of the dev team. I mean, first off, we kind of know that. I don't know. I guess this line kind of just feels like, respectfully, it just feels like unnecessary fluff. Like you're just kind of over-explaining, if you will. I would have been fine if they just kind of added something like this in as a disclaimer at the very bottom, right? That would have been fine. You just kind of generalize everything, even though more or less everyone pretty much knows that. I guess I would just like to see maybe an example of, and this is my thing, right? For something like Forge of Light, when the event comes up, what I would love for them to add in for these events, even like Strongest Lord, just give us a timeline. Give us like a historical timeline of, okay, hey, the first SLE, this hero. Second SLE, this hero. The first Forge of Light, these 2 artifacts. The second Forge of Light, these 2 artifacts. There is nothing wrong with providing that level of information in a timeline, right? So that way we as players do not have to go through the grind of figuring it out, right? That to me is the next level that's going to take a game like Call of Dragons to the upper echelon. Right, is doing things that no other kingdom builder is, where you're giving players information that's going to help them progress in the game faster and enjoy the game more. Think about it. I don't know any other kingdom builder that does that. I don't know any other kingdom builder that would even give you a calendar of upcoming events for an entire month, right? A week is cool, but I would love to know for the whole month. Better yet, I'd love to know for the whole season. Even if you have adjustable slots and you say, hey, look, some things can change, here's a list of events for the entire first season, and here's everything laid out. Even better, add a way for you to map things out on a calendar, right? Man, the ideas in this head right now are next level. I can't be giving away all these gold nuggets for free. Dev team should hire your boy. Okay, let's move on. Number 16. Increase the number of daily challenges available as part of Titan's Legacy. Completing a daily challenge will grant you a small amount of resources and reward. I'm actually okay with this. This is a nice quality of life update. They're giving you an opportunity to gain more daily challenge resources, and they're giving you more tasks to complete. Can't be mad at that. Number 17. Added stories and dialogue for Nika, Veln, Theia, Kinnara, Pan, and Alwyn. You can now talk to them in your city. Oh, nice. And number 18, lastly, added a number of new hero emojis which can be obtained by increasing heroes' trust levels. Oh, cool. I'm actually okay with this. And I'm going to mention something about hero emojis in a separate video, but in short, what I will say about this is start thinking, right, this is an idea, start thinking about how to add in emojis or text for, excuse me, or text emojis, animated and or text emojis, specifically for wartime. And just let that marinate for a little bit. Let it simmer. Give it a little wish-wash. Okay, that's going to be it. And obviously, we want to give feedback, right? So if you have feedback, give some feedback on the update. I'm going to fill this out. I have been doing it for the past couple. So, again, but I'm already at 25 minutes. So with that in mind, let me know what you guys think. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your feedback. Again, do you disagree? Do you agree with some of the points I made? What do you think about some of the changes? Let me know anything and everything in the comments down below. And maybe we'll even feature that on this upcoming week of the CoD Pod, which, man, shout out to that because they finally updated and allowed for video sharing and for camera sharing on stage channels. So, dude, it's going to be a next level for the dudes and dudettes, right? We have to be gender neutral for everyone. All right, that's going to do it. As always, until next time, I will catch you later.